On the AFN Fishing Show this week, we explore trolling baits for deep water species at North Stradbroke Island with Troy Dixon, before we chase shallow water rock bar barramundi with paddletail soft plastics in the Fitzroy River. We've had such an awesome run of pelagic species up and down our coast over the past 2 seasons that we thought it well worth the effort getting out here and playing with them again. And because you guys asked for more information on trolling specifically, that's what we're here to do today. I've got a cool crew together. We've got Denver with a guest cameo appearance on Sportfish DVD, and I've got Dicko, a man that's grown up chasing a variety of species, but he's very, very good when it comes to trolling a variety of approaches to catch pelagics. So the boys in the background rigging baits, catching a few liveys as well. Let's go and have a crack.
Alright folks, I'm just going to show you how to rig up a little bonito bait. There's a couple of different techniques of the way to do it. This is just one of the techniques that I use. You'll see the rig there. We've got, what's that, 470 mustard hooks with some lead crimp to the 2 front hooks. So with this particular rig, we actually pull from the nose of the bonito. And we got a little black rolling swivel up the top here and about 40 centimeters or single strand wire trace. I'm using 59 pound mason. I find single strands just a lot easier to use. You can make them up a lot quicker than what you can with multi-strand with crimps and things like that. So I use single strand. I'll just show you how to do it. There's your bait there. What you need is a little bit of copper wire, like so, and a bait needle. This is the first step of the rigging up the bait. So you just crimp it through there like that. Pick the center so you come up through the middle of the bonito's nose. And so you've got it coming out of both sides like that. Then it's just twisting it up. Make sure it's quite firm on the nose. And I use quite a fair bit of copper wire because I like to wrap it around the shank of the hook nice and tight. So that's it, that's the first step. Then what you want to do is grab your rig and just line it up, line your hooks up. And you want this eye of the front toe hook just to be outside the mouth of the bonito. And this one's going to work out perfectly. It's actually going to go into just behind the anal hole of the bonito. So when you're putting these hooks in your fish, you want to make sure that they're not tight. You know what I mean? So they're not jamming up on each other. So I always just put it in there, make sure it's in there nice and loose. Then grab your next hook. And you'll notice with my rigs, I've also got a rear hook that's reversed too. Seems to help your hook up rate. And then straight down the line. And you'll notice with bonito, and most fish have all got like a line across the bottom of their belly. It's easy to get your bait right and exactly the same, your hook's in the right spot. And the toe hook, you want it to go up in this gristly part of the gill section. And there's your hooks lying in your bait. Next step, you want to just make sure that your towing wire is actually, the loop is out the front. And then what you want to do is just grab your copper wire and wrap it around fairly firmly around just below the eye of the hook, just like so. I'm pretty confident that he'll swim straight away. We'll get him in the water and we'll show you how he swims.
To go first light, new day on the water, we don't really know what mood the fish are going to be in. I know you've got a tackle box full of hard bodies, but at the moment you pull the baits out as well just to maybe suss out the mood of the fish, and you've got a bit of a plan in mind.
Yeah mate, well first off we'll just troll these couple of bonito down along this stretch of rock here, and most of the time, first up, I'll troll baits. Hopefully we catch a couple of Spaniards, and then we'll go troll some high speed later on. Get a couple of mac tuna and maybe a wahoo or something.
All right, mate, well, it sounds good, and I promised Denver today that he's going to hit drag screaming and get rods bending, so we've got to tick a big box for him, so mate, I reckon you're the man for the job.
Mate, well,
no pressure at all.
Nah, no pressure. Rightio, well, we've rigged up those baits, we've put them out, we've set them back probably about 40 to 50 metres, and we're just trolling along the edge of this drop off here. It drops from about 15 down to about 20 metres, and that's where the Spaniards seem to patrol along that drop off. Also, when you're trolling for Spaniards and that, it's also a very visual sort of a fishing. Like, you're always looking for bird activity and things like that, because the birds are always diving into the bait, and we're just coming up onto a patch of birds here now, so we'll just continue to troll our baits down through here. And you'll notice, as when we're trolling along, you'll notice the rods are fairly sensitive in the tip. Today we're using a live fibre RLF 19, very sensitive in the tip for the tip action of these baits, but very stiff down the bottom end of the rod for when you actually got to put the hooks into these fish. You'll notice when we hook these fish up, we actually hook them up with the boat. So we actually plant the throttle and get going with the boat, and that just seems to hook them up pretty well.
Finally, we're away. Dicko's been working the local ground, a few colour changes, some patches of birds, and we've got actually had 2 bites. We had a bait chomped on one side and then absolutely hammered on the other side. Finally, Denver's in the action. All right.
I'm just going to keep us motoring forward just to keep that tension on the line.
Yep.
Because that bait is out of fair way.
Yep. You're right, Dicko.
Keep him coming.
There's the benefit of a crew working together. We're obviously in a bit of a lumpy sea, and we've got a fair bit of line out the back, and we've got Dicko just controlling the boat just to make sure that Denver can stay tight on this fish. Obviously, with the boat rocking backwards and forwards, it's easy just to lurch and give a fish a bit of slack line, which does help them spit a hook. So we've got Dicko up the front there. Woo! That's what we want. That's what we wanted. A while ago, Denver entered a competition to win a segment fishing with us. And what did you get second prize, mate? You got 2 days with us? 3 days with us? Denver was the lucky winner. He's out here with us today. And we spoke on the phone a fair bit before coming out on this trip to work out what we wanted to do and stuff, and he said, I just want to get drags going, Nige.
Big drag.
Big drags and rods bent. So when you said that, I knew exactly the man to ring next, which is Dicko at Wilson's, and said, righto, we've got a job to do. We've got to put Denver onto something big. And he said, I think I know the place, I know the technique, and I've got the gear to help you out. Here we go.
Ooh, there's the head shake. She's a Spaniard.
Ew. Oh, yes.
Oh, there he's on the surface.
Yeah.
Oh, he's out of the water. Shark might be on him.
Go, 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 go. Yeah.
Got him.
Woo! Woo!
Nice.
Get in there with the Denver. In you go.
There you go.
Mate, fantastic. Look at this.
Well, there you go. A beautiful southeast Queensland Spaniard.
Yep.
How'd you enjoy that?
Mate, fantastic. It was awesome.
Yeah, great. Yeah, no, that's why we troll the baits around here in southeast Queensland. We rigged up those bonito this morning, and here we go. That's what we ended up with. We actually had a double hookup, but we missed the other one, and we got this one, so that's pretty cool. Righto, folks, we're actually going to keep this fish for the table. So the best way to keep them is to make up an ice slurry, a nice wet ice slurry, so they go underneath all the ice. I want to make sure that they're fully submerged in the ice slurry. Yeah, I've done a fair bit of commercial fishing over the years, and we found an ice slurry is the best way to keep your fish in perfect eating condition.
I live in Victoria Point, which is very close to Stradbroke Island. This is my backyard, but I don't get to explore it as much as I could. My work base is in Rocklea. I work for Freighter MaxiCube. I'm a workshop foreman there, and I basically run the shed every day, ins and outs of jobs. And fishing is my world. I've done it ever since I was 7-year-old, when my grandfather first taught me to catch blackfish at Port Macquarie, and it has stemmed from there.
At the moment we've got some pelagic action going on in the background, and we're throwing small liveys at them. 7-0s gang together. First hook pinned in behind the shoulder, and the second one through the nose of the fish as lightly as possible, just to let that fish swim. It's pinned and it's secure and ready for action. That's going to swim happily. Any fish that comes and grabs that, hook penetration to get a good hook set. Right, now what we got, 2 live baits rigged on a 2-hook gang, just kicking away 15 metres behind the boat. We've got a ripping current at the moment. What Dicko's plan is we're going to troll past this fad that's holding some dolphin fish. The idea being that we tempt them out from this fad, they come into the wash, they see the baits, and they'll either grab them straight up or we just feed it back to them. That presentation of having a live bait just fluttering away in that wash behind the boat. It's not just going to gee up dolphin fish. If there's any predator that comes into a wash, sees a livey kicking away behind the boat, sitting up the top, it's going to take a lot for them to resist coming in and whacking it. Here we go. Oh, is that a fish on you? You're away? All right. Oh,
Hey.
there we go.
Woohoo! He's a jumper.
He's a jumper. Denver's in the action, and I've got interest in my livey. Line speeding up. Oh, yes. And they are going off. Phew. So much fun to catch. I'm monstering these liveys, just the forces of competition, and a bunch of fish suddenly fire out of their structure and they see a helpless live bait sitting there. They're all coming out to fight over it, and you can see there's still fish following this one in. You always know you're a good chance of hooking a fish and you've got a livey sitting out there and there's 10 fish looking at each other, working out which one's going to eat it first. There we go. Well, Denver, guest cameo appearance, mate. You wanted to hear some drags going?
Mate, I've heard drags going all day. It's been fantastic.
Well, mate, we owe a lot of thanks to Dicko, the man from Wilson's, who brings us all the gear.
Yep.
And he's done an awesome job of putting us onto fish, and a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes as well. Just a bunch of anglers sitting back, working out how best to catch fish, and we've thrown a fair few tricks in the book of them, which is like any day on the water. I think you just got to be versatile, use your brain and see what you think might work, and then find the fish and put it to practice, and well,
Put it to bed.
there you go. Awesome. What a beautiful way to finish the day.
Yep.
Pair of beautiful fish. We've got a feed, we've had some fun. We've seen some sights, mate.
We have.
And this wind's starting to blow up. I've been bumped around a bit now. My arms are getting sore, and I reckon it's time for us to head back.
Head back home.
We can say, see you to the next segment, and thanks very much to Denver for coming out and joining the crew. The trip to the Fitzroy River at Rocky was always going to be a bit of a challenge, because the locals rang us just before we left to say, hey, the great fishing we've been experiencing has started to shut down due to some cold weather. The big fish that were about had gone strangely quiet, but there were still plenty of those 50 to 60 centimetre barra on the cards. Given the option of staying at home and catching nothing, or heading onto the road to try and tangle a few of these wonderful sports fish, was a choice that was pretty easy for us to make. How good's that?
Should we go for a double?
Go for it.
Go for a double?
While the fish are on, the fish are bite, you make the most of it.
Oh, it's ready, is it?
I think he's a little barra. He's only a little fella.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, nice. How good are they? Lots of fun. So much fun. Beautiful little Central Queensland estuary barra. The benefits, sometimes using your eyes with some of the best fishing tools we've got, putting casts in the right place, when there's some active fish around, getting it in front of them and letting them do the rest. All right, let's get this guy back. Come on.
Be a barra by the feel of it. Oh,
Size to?
nah, be about this.
Give me enough.
Giving me enough, that's for sure.
Oh, I think it might be better, Adrian.
Nah, he's the same size.
Oh, no.
Same rat.
Let's just charge into that net again, eh? Let you do the honours, Adrian.
Nice.
Fishing the Fitzroy River in central Queensland at the moment for all the tropical predators which live up here. And it's an overcast day, as you can see, and one of the things which we've really used in our favour today is using these lighter shade spotted sunglasses just to see subtle structural bankside features to cast at. That might mean a change in the colour, Adrian, or where we've seen snags just sneaking down under the water, or a particular, looks like a bit of a depth change because of the way the water colour changes.
Exactly.
And I think too, slightly murky waterway, but it doesn't mean that the benefit of good sunnies means we can see a little bit further into that water.
Correct.
It's allowed us to put lures in the right spot, start working them, and you and I are having a bit of fun.
We are.
So eyes are a very important tool on the water, so look after them with a good set of sunnies, and you're a step ahead of the game.
Exactly.
Go, I'm going to get him for you. Little fish. Playing up nicely. Oh, tide's just starting to get to the right stage, Adrian.
Certainly is, mate. We were here about 2 hours ago and all these rocks, trees and everything was just covered. It was just, to see it now 2 hours later is just, that's awesome.
Aren't they a prize fish? One of our classic sport fish that so many anglers around Australia spend a lot of time chasing. He's absolutely engulfed, little Z-Man paddletail. And pretty easy strategy, Adrian, just drifting down a rock wall, just finding the key little parts to throw plastic up against the rock, let it drift down and then slowly roll it back out and hopefully intercept one of these guys. Let's get him back in the water. I'll quickly walk you through one of the retrieves we've been using with these soft plastic paddletail style lures. First step, cast the lure as close as you can to the bank. Watch it land. The moment it's landed, engage your reel and just watch your braided line. That lure will start fluttering down close to the edge. The moment it's hit that bottom, you'll visibly see that braided line slacken off in the water. Then it's a case of quickly wind up that slack and then slow roll it out about a metre or so and pause it again. Let it go down. You'll very often find bites come as you pause and that lure starts fluttering down. Every time that braid slackens off, means your lure's on the bottom and then it's a time to keep rolling it out. And what that effectively does is allows you to fish that lure out in a contoured fashion, so it keeps it in that zone where the fish are going to be. And once again, the importance of wearing good polarised sunglasses helps you see braided lines so much more easily in any given light, and that's the key very often to fishing this retrieve.
We matched our spin rods with 3 and 4,000 size Abu and Shimano reels, loaded with 14 to 20 pound high visibility braid that we completed with 2 metres of 40 and 50 pound fluorocarbon leaders.
All right.
Bit of acrobats.
Roached it. Yeah.
Geez, they're into the soft plastics.
I'm liking it. Retrieve we're using with these soft plastics. Very simple retrieve, and it works really well in the impoundments as well. Case of, it's a paddle tail plastic, so it does a lot of work for you, and it's a case then of just selecting the right jig head weight, that'll get you down to that strike zone. With these fish are holding off rock walls and natural banks at the moment. And to get to the right depth, which is a metre or two down off the bank, we're using a ½ ounce jig head. It's a case then of just watching the line, letting it hit the bottom and then slow rolling it for a metre or so before you pause it and let it flutter back down. And that plastic is working the whole way through the retrieve when you're winding with your reel and also when it's sinking. And get it in front of these guys, it looks all a part of a wounded bait fish and they're finding it hard to resist. Aren't they good to catch?
Reading the tides is a big part of catching fish wherever you go. It became quickly apparent that the last stages of the run-out tide were a prime time to catch barramundi in the Fitzroy River. The water became a lot clearer, it was much easier to see the rock bars where the fish were holding, and also the lower flow in the river made it a lot easier to cast and present soft plastics to fish that were out actively searching for food.
Aren't they just an awesome hunting machine? Narrow face, big broad shoulders, eyes close together. Great little nocturnal feeders and that big buffy mouth. When they want to eat something, they don't muck around. That's why sometimes the bite with these guys is very much detected as just a solid little tap through the rod, and what that is just signifying that they've inhaled what you've got. And in this case, little paddle-tailed Z-man, which we're just working out of some shoreline structure. Get him back. He's biting away, good sign he wants to go, and we'll see you later. Woo! They don't have to be big to have fun, Adrian.
No, they don't, mate. For their size, they hit very, very hard.
Oh, yep. Yep. Oh, no. Ah, better fish. Far out. It's just getting to that right stage of the tide. Fishing an estuary, which can be a bit murky, and it's just started clearing up a bit. And Adrian and I changed shades on the lenses a couple of times, and now we can actually start seeing a bit of structure and picking where the water's rolling a little bit. It's helping us cast soft plastics just into the right spots and rolling them through. We're really strategically working lures into zones where we think fish are, but we're certainly using our eyes to help pick the key spots. But we are drifting fast, and you want to make your casts count. Use your eyes, get in the right spot, helps you hook them. Not always land them, but it does help you hook them.
Paddle-tail style soft plastics have become synonymous with the barramundi fishing scene, and it's great to see that so many anglers in the estuaries are starting to now use them as a first choice style of lure.
Oh yeah.
Nigel's on fire.
Another feisty juvenile barra, fishing up just below Rockhampton, and the river's here is full of these guys and also plenty of bigger ones. I don't think the bigger ones are getting a chance at the moment. These guys are beating them to it because we're putting well presented soft plastics in front of them again and again.
A good lesson when heading to new spots is to take fishing reports as a guiding tool only. Fishing changes by the day, and very often what you hear will have changed dramatically by the time you hit the water. What this means for you is that a new day on the water should be started with you using your brains and your fishing experience to best guide you how to catch a fish.